1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. Always.
One of resistance,
We are a spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the first order down.
rebellion,
Rebellion is built on hope.
and redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. How's everybody doing? We are doing well. It's good to be back. Let's get the introduction out of the way. We'll tell you what we've been up to. My name is Aaron Harris, and of course, joining me as always is the Hondo to my Melch, the David Motters. David, brother, what's up?
That is the perfect descriptor considering what we're going to cover today. So I'll just say that. But just, glad to be back on recording with you and ready to react. And how are you doing on that end?
Yeah, I'm doing good. A lot better. I know y'all listened in last week. You saw we weren't here. We didn't release an episode. I even posted something about that, and that was all me. I was graced with a visit from the COVID bug, if you could even say that, but I just did. And so yeah, it was a rough week. My wife had it, then I had it, and now my kids got a sickness, but it's completely different. It's not COVID, it's not the flu, it's some kind of virus that's mimicking it. It's really stupid. But it's been a week of Kleenex boxes and naps and 60 loads of laundry because cleaning up after all the all that stuff. So yeah, it's been crazy, but I'm doing well. I actually spent my first day back at work today, so bravo there. So yeah, I'm content. I'm doing well, doing healthy, and I am ready and raring to go to talk some Star Wars. So of course, as you know, our normal release date is Thursday, but you're getting this a day early because of, drum roll please, Star Wars Podcast Day. So of course we're celebrating that. It is February 7th of 2024. This of course is celebrating the 25 years of Star Wars podcasting, organized by our recent guest and our good friend Daniel Contreras. As of the last count I saw was over 100 shows are participating and releasing some kind of special either on the 7th or the week of the 7th to celebrate. This is basically just a way to promote Star Wars podcasts and to celebrate Star Wars fandom through podcasts. And of course, we're going back. The reason today is the February 7th is the 25th anniversary of the release of the very first Star Wars podcast back in 1999, called Jedi Talk. So they pioneered it. They were the trailblazers. And there have been a lot of awesome people that have picked up the mantle and ran with it, and we are just happy and honored to be a part of it. So, yeah. So happy Star Wars Podcast Day, David.
Well, thanks, and back at you. I'm glad that we're in podcasting, and you and I got into it, and ended up just being able to do a podcast. Of course, we've had several names for it, and it's just been a really fun experience for me and for my fandom. Like, people do different things, and this just really fit, and you and I, like I said, have had such a great time with it. And so it's pretty staggering. I remember the number that Daniel was mentioning was under 100, about 90 some, 95, now over 100. podcasts that are participating in this, and that's really impressive. It's hard to get 50 people to do anything, let alone over 100 podcasts. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's really awesome, and we're excited to be a part of it, which is why we wanted to do something special and do this particular episode. But before we do jump into our discussion, I would be amiss if I did not discuss all the news that broke over the last 24 hours, David. I don't know if you've seen all of it, but of course it is award season in Hollywood. And Lucasfilm has cleaned up in the last 24 hours.
Oh my gosh. No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Lucasfilm has been cleaning it up. So, of course, we had the Grammy Awards we're recording this on Monday the 5th. So we had the Grammy Awards last night. And the composers for Jedi Survivor, the video game, won a Grammy for Best Score in a Video Game.
Wow.
Then the one that made me uber happy was John Williams won a Grammy for Best Instrumental Composition for Helena's theme from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I did see that.
The maestro won a Grammy last night, which is awesome. So congrats to them. Incredible news to hear. But wait, there's more. The Saturn Awards also took place on Sunday, which is huge. Another huge award show that they have out there. And it was a big night for Lucasfilm. It started off with the show on Disney Plus, Andor, took home the award for Best New Genre TV Series. So congrats to them. In addition, for the second year in a row, for its second season, The Bad Batch won Best Animated Television Series.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Perfect timing when you're going right into season 3, which begins February 21st. Only on Disney Plus. So that was incredible news. Lucasfilm also scored big with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Dial of Destiny won Best Fantasy Film. Harrison Ford was named Best Film Actor. And John Williams won for Best Film Music for Dial of Destiny.
Nice.
And to top the evening off, our man, Dave Filoni for President, Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, was honored that evening with the prestigious George Pal Memorial Award. This award, just a little background, this award is named after filmmaker and animator George Pal, who worked on War of the Worlds and The Time Machine. It's presented on rare occasions to a filmmaker who embodies a sense of wonder, imagination, and mastery of the fantastic and cinematic storytelling.
Wow.
So congrats to Dave Filoni. I mean, well deserved. You couldn't have picked somebody when you look at that award and the description of that award, you cannot have picked a better person.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So kudos and congrats to Dave the Man. Dave the Man for President Filoni. So, yes, I had to share that and go over that because it's incredible. I mean, it's fabulous. It's great news, especially for The Bad Batch for the second year in a row to win Best Animated Show.
Yeah,
that's incredible. So, and if y'all don't know the Saturn Awards, they're presented by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, honoring genre entertainment and everything with an edge.
Mhm.
That's in quotations. I verbatim read exactly what they wrote. So, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Good for Lucasfilm. They cleaned it up, and it's well deserved. So, all right, David, ready to talk some Star Wars?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we have decided for Star Wars podcasting. We actually announced this back when Daniel was on our show. That was a couple episodes ago. That we were going to be doing we were going to be bringing back our profile series, in which we were going to, of course, if you're not familiar with our profile series, this is where we look at characters who maybe aren't the main characters like Luke, Han, Leia, Kanan, Ezra, Rey, Finn, any of the main characters. Take a look at the secondary characters. We consider the B-roll characters, C-roll characters, people who were there participating, maybe not all the time, but they had an impact on the story. And we explore these characters because they can, they fall behind the scenes a little bit. And it's hard to say that the topic of our discussion tonight is kind of falls in that category. He is a background character. He's not a primary. But he's probably, I would go as far as saying he's probably one of the better known background characters. That is quite beloved around the saga. If you've watched the Clone Wars, if you have watched Rebels, if you have gone to Galaxy's Edge and flown the Falcon, you have seen this guy.
That's right.
He is, he's a pirate. He's an outlaw. He has gotten various exploits that have made him famous and gained him infamy throughout the Star Wars galaxy. He has a long, storied career of pirating, whether it was operating his own gang or whether or not it was his new transport solutions company, which somehow he ended up with the Falcon. But, he became intertwined in the conflicts of his time, whether it be the Clone Wars, the liberation of Lothal, and so forth. So, and of course, during the Galaxy's Edge time period, dealing with the Resistance. So, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are talking about everybody's favorite Weequay pirate, the one, the only, Hondo Ohnaka. So, of course, I just basically breezed through his biography there, giving you a little bit of what he accomplished in a nutshell there. But let's go through. Let's kick this off with our initial thoughts and overall thoughts about Hondo Ohnaka. David, I'm going to let you take it off because I've been running my mouth for the last 10 minutes, and you really haven't said much other than hello there.
No, I appreciate you doing that. Whenever we do these profiles, you do such a good job just introducing and giving people a flavor for an overarching flavor for the character. And, it has been a while since we've done a profile episode. So I'm really glad we're doing it here for Star Wars Podcast Day. As we've done with other profiles we've done on secondary characters, this was a really fun deep dive into a character I absolutely love. Not only because of how funny he is, but I'm telling you, Jim Cummings as the voice is just outstanding. He's so good, from obviously Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, Darkwing Duck, and then here he is as Hondo Ohnaka. I really like what you said a few minutes ago, that maybe unlike a few of the other profiles we've done. Like I'm thinking about Callus, Alexander Callus, and maybe even Zer Leonis.
Yes.
Right? Those really are, and I agree. I guess what I love that you said is, boy, he is a secondary character, but boy, oh boy, he's pretty prominent as well. So there is kind of a balancing out. Like you said, he's not a Luke, a Han, Leia, Finn, Poe, Rey. He's not that, but boy, does his career spans all these galaxies. I spent time going through Wikipedia and reading all of his history. Even tonight, before we got on, Aaron, I'm looking at it right here. Of course, I talked with Jason Bray to, start the year off last month in January. Looking at timelines, that book that he did with several other authors, and I went through, best I could, Hondo's history on the timeline. And I just realized the more I did, I'm like, oh my gosh, it really is a decades-long career. And so it was fun to go back and really look at it from the first time we see him, which is an episode of the Clone Wars, all the way to, August of 2019, when Aaron and I were fortunate enough to walk around Galaxy's Edge before it opened. And here's Aaron and I walking into Smuggler's Run. And here's Hondo Ohnaka, this incredibly detailed animatronic, and of course voiced by Jim Cummings. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, from animation to animatronic. I mean, there he is. And so what an incredible character. I love his exploits. I love his sense of humor. I love him playing both sides of good and bad guys. And it was a joy just to go through episodes of the Clone Wars, Rebels. Even he was, I didn't realize it. I realized it. I remembered it. He's in an episode of, oh gosh, with Jyn Erso. It's in those shorts that they did. Why am I blocking on it? The Galaxy of Heroes. They did them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yelling at. I know.
It's not Force for Change. It's where's my Disney Plus? Hold on.
Right. It's ones they did with Rey, with Jyn, with Hera. The little shorts.
Yeah, the little animated short Star Wars animation. Where is it?
I'm going through right now trying to find where I see his picture with Jyn Erso. It was like called the Triple Cross, right? And
Forces of Destiny.
Forces of Destiny. Thank you, my friend, for saving me. I remember him in that. It's just so fun. And so again, I guess I just kind of derailed my whole initial thoughts on him, but just again, a great character. I hope to see more and more of him. I love Jim Cummings doing the voice. And I tell you, I've loved Hondo from the start. And so again, those are just a few or a lot of my thoughts on Hondo Ohnaka. How about you?
Well, completely off subject. You know what I remember most about Forces of Destiny?
What?
Han Solo admitting the Ghost was faster.
That was pretty big. That was pretty big.
That was pretty awesome. That was the first glimpse we had of Hera being at the Endor, too.
Yes, and then we knew that she made it through.
And more importantly, we knew Chopper survived because he was there too.
Priorities, people. Chopper's alive. Chopper's alive.
It took approximately 5 minutes for me to bring Hondo Ohnaka back to Chopper. That's record. No, Hondo is one of those characters that is just, for me, I absolutely love. He's one that I will never get tired of watching. Never get tired. He's the ultimate comic relief for Star Wars. I could, to me, he's got swag. He's got everything. And you brought up Jim Cummings who does his voice, who I absolutely adore, and he is on my bucket list of people I want to meet and talk to. And he's definitely on there, who I have not happened yet. Hopefully it will one day, but he's just does an incredible job. He's one of those, in the way he did the voice and everything. Hondo is one of those characters that it doesn't matter how bad of a day you're on. You turn on Clone Wars, you turn on Rebels, you hear that, hello, my friends. You can't help but crack a grin. You can't help it. Hondo is just that intense and that awesome. He's got that heavy of a presence. And, I'm going to, and I'm going to say something, and it's probably going to get me in trouble. So I'm sorry, David, but looking at Hondo, and we're going to be talking about him in Clone Wars. We're going to be talking about him in Rebels, and of course, Galaxy's Edge and everything. Talk about a little about his history and journey and stuff. But, I gotta say, he is connected to so many big players throughout the Star Wars history, in the Clone Wars with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and with Dooku and Anakin. Then, of course, in Rebels, of course, with Callus, and of course Kanan, and his closeness with Ezra, and his contributions to the rebellion, getting the Y-wings, all this, and then of course Galaxy's Edge, Rey, and all them. Chewbacca. He is the Star Wars, and this is the controversial part I'm about to say, so y'all forgive me. I don't even know if it's controversial. It's probably just, people are going to be like, oh, dear Lord. But you cannot, I'm looking at all the people he's connected to and everything he's done through history. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, this dude's the Forrest Gump of Star Wars.
I thought you were going to say 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like you could do 6 degrees.
You could do 6 degrees of Hondo Ohnaka. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I guarantee you could do 6 degrees of Hondo Ohnaka. How's Hondo connected to Palpatine? Easy. Hondo to Obi to Anakin to Palp. There you go.
Yeah.
There's 4 degrees there. But I mean, that'd be fun. We ought to write that one down.
Episode right there. Yeah,
that could be fun. But yeah, I mean, these are just things that he just. I'm sitting there and you look at Forrest Gump. He's JFK. Elvis. All these people he interacted with. Football in Alabama under Bear Bryant. I mean, just all these things. It's like Hondo's the same way. He's just the Forrest Gump of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Only difference is he doesn't have a Gen A. All right. So now that I've stuck that foot in my mouth, let's keep moving. Let's talk a little bit about Hondo. We were first introduced to Hondo Ohnaka in the Clone Wars. And it was a very interesting way we were introduced to him, because he does something that the Republic had been trying to do and kept failing to do. He captured Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, he calls the Republic in to cut a deal to, give them Dooku. And what's he do? He sees a way to make more profit. So let's kidnap the Republic representatives too. So now I can sell the Republic representatives to the Separatists and the Separatists to the Republic. Everybody makes money. Profit for everybody. And of course, they're on. It is such a fun story, but and it was so crazy. But I gotta know what, looking at Hondo in the Clone Wars era, and I gotta say that was probably my favorite episode of the Clone Wars. With Hondo was that arc with Dooku. What were your thoughts when we first met Hondo Ohnaka?
Oh man, like you said, the voice and the character, and not only like you said, does he capture Dooku, but then he drugs both Anakin and Obi-Wan, which is just it's hilarious, right? And so then he's got them in a cell, and then the hijinks ensue with Obi-Wan and Anakin tethered to Dooku. It was so well done, and I think it really set the stage for him, right, as this really formidable foe. He's not just someone who can get worked over really quickly, and he deals with Sith and Jedi and their laser swords, and so he has his Qualky and monkey lizards help him, right, pilfer lightsabers and so on and so forth. But I think it was a great introduction to him and his whole crew, capturing Dooku and of course Obi-Wan and Anakin. I thought it was great, and some of the best episodes, there in the Clone Wars.
Oh, absolutely. And the clone, he continues throughout the Clone Wars, and there are a couple episodes with him in there. But the next big one that really had an impact on the story line was when he went toe to toe with Maul.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another fabulous episode, and it gave me and we'll talk about this later, but two of my favorite. Hondo's got two lines. When I think of Hondo, I think of these two lines. Well, three actually. One of them I've already said is "Hello, my friends." Yeah. Hondo, I immediately think of that. But then I also think of a quote from this episode, which you actually have in our notes. You didn't even know it was one of my favorites, but you put it in the notes, where I believe it was Maul that said it. He was like, "Filth, you will pay for your insolence." And Hondo looks at him and goes, "Insolence? We are pirates. We don't even know what that means. Open fire!"
This is great.
It's just pure. It's just pure gold. Pure gold. And I love that episode. There on Forum, it's just insane how that worked out, because Kenobi ends up there, and they end up. That's actually, I'm trying to remember. That's the episode where they end up killing that one Jedi, isn't it?
Yes, Adagalia.
Adagalia. I can't remember her name. There during that episode, Kenobi and her are dispatched there, but fun episode. You think of Maul, and you think of Maul going toe to toe with Obi-Wan multiple times. He went toe to toe with Ahsoka multiple times. His fight with Pre Vizsla to take over Death Watch, or his fight with Sidious on Mandalore. Golden.
Yeah.
But nobody ever really talks about him going toe to toe with Ohnaka.
I know. Well, and part of it's just hilarious during this whole thing with Obi-Wan and Maul. Maul's leg is damaged in this thing, and then you just see, like, Ohnaka's, some of the pirates double cross him. They go to the other side to Maul in a press, and then later on you see him coming back to Hondo. It's just hilarious watching these pirates like jump ship back and forth, and ultimately Hondo and his crew, fight them off, and Obi-Wan also lives to live another day, because it was looking pretty dicey. It was bad, but they ended up doing it there. They ended up fighting it off. Incredibly exciting episode.
Yeah, it was. The situation was dire, as you would hear in some episodes, some shows say, but it was It was definitely an intense episode, which made Hondo so much more fun. And I think one thing you learn about Hondo when you're watching him, especially during the Clone Wars, he's a lot more. He has the devious mind, but he's also a lot more combative in Clone Wars than he was than the older Hondo we see in Rebels, which we'll talk about shortly. But he's a lot more combative. He has not only he has the ability to fight when he needs to, by of course taking out when he captured Dooku, he's got the separatist droids attacking, or in this case with Maul and Savage basically going insane on their camp trying to get to Kenobi. I mean, it is definitely he's a fighter in this. And I think that's one thing that we see him grow out of as he got older to the version we see in Rebels. And I think that's where we're going to go next, is talk about Hondo Ohnaka, Hondo Ohnaka, Carabast, in Rebels. Before we do, though, we are going to take a real brief break. So hang with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here, a.k.a. Hondo and Melch. Figure out which one's Melch. Anyway. We're gonna, Carabast.
That was good. A little too good at that.
Oh, Lord, help me. Anywho, Hondo Ohnaka, we just talked about some of his history during the Clone Wars, and we then don't see him again until Rebels, after the Clone Wars. And the Hondo we get in Rebels it's the same character, but it's definitely a more mature and a more pensive Hondo than we got before. Hondo in Clone Wars, he was, like I said before the break, he was very combative. He was a pirate. He fought for what he wanted. He fought for what he got. He lied, he cheated, he stole. But he was definitely a fighter. Whereas in Rebels, we see somebody who is a little bit more pensive, a lot more devious and manipulative of situations to get what he needs. And I see that as quite a character growth for him, because he was always manipulative in some ways, but he knew what he wanted and he went for it because he was a pirate in Clone Wars. Whereas in Rebels, he was a lot more manipulative. He was a lot more, I'm going to play on your emotions to get what I need. And he did that by, of course, working with and befriending Ezra Bridger. And it all started when with Hondo taking over Vizago's, who of course was another smuggler that worked with the Ghost crew ship, the Broken Horn, and it a lot of hilarity ensues because he sends out a distress message, and of course they get it. Who answers it? Ezra and Chopper. Yeah. Why could I not say his name? I'm sitting here looking right at the guy.
That's a Carabas moment.
That's not even a Carabas moment. That's
gross.
a check my temperature. Am I still alive? Moment. Carabas. But yeah, Ezra and Chopper show up and find out Hondo is now in charge of the Broken Horn. And of course they end up working through stuff, and it's a mess. Absolute hysterical episode, as we find out that Vizago's actually not gone. He's actually locked up in the brig. And again, Hondo with his golden, and you said this line earlier, his golden wit. You lied to me. I knew I liked you. But talk to me about Hondo, David. I want to hear it from you, because we talked about Hondo in Rebel or in Clone Wars, and we've hit on a couple of things, and I've really talked about basically the change in the character from his younger days to his older days. What are your thoughts on his growth as a character between the two series?
Well, yeah, I do agree with you. Less of the fighting, more of the manipulation. He's always good at that. And when you go through some of these episodes, you'll see him really, like you said, trying to work over Ezra, work over the Ghost crew, work over as Morrigan, that just horrible looking crime lord that we see in some of these episodes. And it's fun to watch him in action, But, the other thing, I was thinking about was we get to see more of him. How do you say it? Just, looking at Ezra, looking at the Ghost crew, and knowing that people are trying to do the right thing, and that's part of the growth you see as well, that he really does straddle the line, but ultimately he does help, our heroes, and I really like that, to see him do that for, of course, a crew that you and I, love, the Ghost crew, and so on and so forth. So you do see that, and that's an interesting growth process from just pirate who's pretty aggressive and working everybody over to, this person who is still going to be manipulative, but he still is wanting to help the good guys, And so that's really kind of like, we see one little glimpse of it in Clone Wars when he tells Boba, kind of a young Boba Fett, kind of what his father would want, kind of what the right thing is. And then you see more of that in Rebels. And so I do like that progression.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you brought that up, because he definitely shows, does a lot to help. Once he befriends Ezra, he does a lot to help the Ghost crew and the rebellion as a result of that. From something as, and just an example of all of these things, some of the things he did, we have the rescue of the Lasat that were captured by the Empire.
Yes.
That they went and helped rescue, which was an encounter that changed Zeb's life. He thought he was the last Lasat member of the Lasat, and he's not. He finds out there's a whole planet of it, and that's all because of Hondo.
Right.
Then, of course, there is the ship, that Imperial cargo ship that was abandoned as it falls into a gas giant, that he brings them to, and he goes and helps them try to get their weapons and stuff that they need, also while getting the treasure and stuff that he wants. But everything that he does, it's twofold. He's helping, but he's getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And we see that throughout the episode, throughout series. He always has this ultimate plan to, I'm going to help them with this, and it's going to get me this. I'm going to help them do this. going to help them get this Imperial cargo ship and get all these weapons and bombs. But I'm going to get this treasure. And it's twofold. He goes, but it never really works out the way he plans. Like with the cargo ship, he doesn't end up really getting any treasure. He ends up getting Melch.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
It's crazy. And of course, he does end up helping the rebels get a whole bunch of Y-wings from Reclamation Station, thanks to Melch, who used to work there. And of course, if you don't know who Melch is an Ugnaught who used to work at Reclamation Station, who Hondo was locked up with.
Yeah.
So that he helped them do that, which was absolutely insane and crazy. That's the episode in which we lose the first Phantom there. We end that rescue there. Of course, that was crazy. Let's see, what else did Hondo do? There's the shield generators he helped them get. But I think by the end of the series, and this is where we see his growth, by the end of the series, it's not about what's Hondo getting, it's about how he's helping.
Yeah.
Because we see him when they finally decide to take back Lothal at the very end, after Kanan is gone, Ghost Crew decide, we're taking back Lothal, we're liberating Lothal. And they hatch this plan. They go to Hondo and a couple others for help, and he hatches the plan, and they're like, we're going to do this for Ezra. And he goes, I would do anything for that boy.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't tell you the growth that he's had and the connection that he has made with Ezra, it's no longer about manipulating the kid. It's about, what can I do to help him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love, to me, that is absolutely my favorite line from that he says in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I would do anything for that boy.
Mm-hmm.
And just the sincere, it's probably one of the few times you actually hear him talk and you can tell there is sincerity behind the words.
Yeah.
Which is huge for Hondo. And I would love to get your thoughts on that, because we've talked about his journey and the changes, but we're talking about a complete change in life pattern at this point, because it's no longer about what am I getting out of this? It is, what am I doing for this kid?
Well, right. And then I to add to what you're saying, I think about, not only does he help Ezra, but he helps the Ghost Crew. He helps the people of Lothal, and specifically the people in the city, because Thrawn has his Chimera, the Star Destroyer Chimera, bombarding the city and the capital city there. And he and Melch, Melch is flying through the air, and comedy ensues, but they end up helping Ezra and the whole crew liberate Lothal. And so, like you said, he and Melch play such a critical role in helping that happen. And it's just great to see. So one of the things I think about when you say, well, what do I think? I think he goes from being a taker to being a giver. And like, I'm always looking at that in our culture, the people who want to take, and those who give and help. And so it was wonderful to see that come, full circle to fruition in those last episodes of season 4 and of the series Rebels. It was great. Him and Melch, critical roles, and doing the right thing. So really, really cool to see that happen.
Oh, it was, and he does it's not just helping them, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's helping the Ghost Crew too, because when they were trying to get back to Lothal, and he ends up they're trying to get through, but there's a massive blockade. So he ends up coming up with this plan and telling him, no, this is how you need to go in. You need to use this. You basically just attach yourself to the cargo ship. It'll work, I swear. You follow it in, it'll be fine. And they end up reluctantly going through with it, and it worked. So his time was definitely changed. And honestly, I would really love for in Ahsoka season 2 to see an Ezra and Hondo reunion.
Oh, wow.
Because Hondo was there at the end. Hondo was there when he disappeared on the Chimera.
That's true. Yeah.
And now that Ahsoka's over and we know Ezra is home, as he's like takes that helmet off, he's like, "Hi, Hera, I'm home." The words we've all longed to hear forever. I would love for him to show up. I would love to see an episode where he shows up on Batu, walks into Ohnaka Transport Solutions, and Hondo turns around and there's Ezra Bridger just standing there in front of him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you could either have the animatronic programmed, right, with Jim Cummings' voice, or, as you and I know, they had an actor inside of the suit with a mask, doing certain scenes that you see as you're going into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Right? So there's kind of two things there. There is an outfit with where a person can be in it. Or, like we said, you could, you and I've stood there and I've looked at that animatronic of Hondo, and I'm looking at it, and in reading some of the notes that I went over, I've heard either it's the most sophisticated or the second most sophisticated animatronic in all of Disney, maybe behind the Shaman and the Navi River ride that they do at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, at Avatar World, whatever it is.
Yeah. So, they can do it. They can do the scene that you're talking about.
I know they could.
Yeah.
I just hope they do.
Yeah.
Please, Dave Filoni for president. Give me Hondo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me a Hondo Ezra reunion.
Yeah.
Because he would do anything for that boy. Oh, I would love to see that. That would make my day. I would shed a tear.
Yeah.
I probably would. I would probably shed a tear. There's a lot of tear shedding during the Ahsoka series for me. But that's another story. So definitely a lot of growth for him during Rebels. Then we have a little bit of history of him from there. The next time we see him pop up is in sequel times at Black Spire Outpost. And we get to see a little bit of him as he set up Ohnaka Transport Solutions. It was a business for him that he started up after everything happened in Rebels, but ends up setting base up on Batu.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quote unquote legitimate business. You can say about as legitimate as a Hondo can get, where it's basically just, he's FedEx. He's shipping and receiving cargo. He's the Star Wars FedEx. Or if you're a, oh man, my mind just went blank.
What's that?
Oh, Carabast. Never mind. I was going to make a pop culture reference, but I can't now when my mind's not working like it should. Oh yeah, there it is. Futurama, Planet Express. If you're a Futurama fan, you'd recognize he's basically done Planet Express. But man, Carabast, I don't know. It's the COVID brain, y'all. It's COVID brain. That's what it is. Oh my gosh. So, of course, we have him set up there. He ends up cutting a deal with our favorite Wookiee, Chewbacca, to get a hold of the Falcon to use there, which is why you can pilot it at Galaxy's Edge. And of course, uses it for his jobs. And of course, you get to fly it on a mission where he is actually swiping some coaxium. And it's just a unique thing, because this is, of course, where he gets involved with the Resistance and everything there during the on
Batu.
Thank you.
So I'm here to help, buddy.
We're having those days. We're having those days. So it definitely is.
Yeah.
I have completely lost my track of mind.
Well, let me
where I'm going. Take over, my friend.
No, I'll help you. Well, because you're doing such a good job, just trying to, you're just doing it, and you set me up here. I'm, part of what's pretty wild, right, is how when Lucasfilm and Disney decided to build Galaxy's Edge, they on the timeline, they set this between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, right? Because when you and I go through our notes and so on and so forth, it says that basically after the Battle of Crate, and of course we know that's at the end of The Last Jedi, Ohnaka, he was stationed back in Black Spire, right? And at that point, the Millennium Falcon lands on Batu, and where the Resistance members establish a base outside the outpost, and that's where we get Delilah Dawson's book, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire, and talks about the Resistance being set up there. And that's when Ohnaka makes the deal with Chewbacca to use the Falcon, and basically hires temporary crews, which is Disney guests, us, that go to the park. And what we're tasked with is hijacking a first order train containing coaxium, and of course that's a ton of fun doing that while you're flying around inside the Falcon. And so it's something I thought about before we were recording is, well, I guess we can answer this in some of our questions, but I mean, it's very interesting, and it really shows what they think of him, the character Hondo, to have him be such an integral part of Galaxy's Edge and, in the first ride ever there, So I thought I'd just piggyback off what you were saying there as you brought it all the way up to current time. And this is where we go decades between, the Clone Wars all the way up to this, battle between the First Order and the Resistance, which we all get to be a part of at Galaxy's Edge.
No, absolutely. Well said. Well said indeed. Thank you for that. For sure. He's definitely a unique character that we love having around and we love dealing with. And he's definitely someone we love to see time and time again. For sure.
That's true.
And the fact that he's a character that has lasted through these years of Star Wars, from in the saga, from the Clone Wars to the Rebellion, the Civil War, to now, of course, the Resistance. He's still smuggling and using his business as a front.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely a unique journey for him, and not just where he is and how he got there, but the growth as a character is what really I love about Hondo. And we're gonna. Anything else on his history before we go into starting to wrap stuff up there?
No, you and I could talk for hours on him. There's so much, but I really feel like you and I hit the points that we really wanted to, from Clone Wars, Rebels, and all the way up to his time in the sequel trilogy with the Ohnaka Transport Solutions. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like we've really kind of covered a long span.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, he definitely has a lot, big span to go with. So he covers a lot of time in the Star Wars galaxy, a lot of interactions there. I mean, remember one thing he's a lot there. So before we go into our final questions and stuff about Hondo, and we start wrapping stuff up, we are going to take one last break. And when we come back, we will wrap things up for you and close out the show. So bear with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are here, Aaron and David, aka Hondo and Melch, and we are having a blast talking about everybody's favorite Weequay pirate, the Hondo Ohnaka. So let us go ahead and start taking here. And this is a question that we always ask at the end of our character profiles. And it's a big one because the purpose of this, what we do is because this person has had an impact on the saga overall. So the question is, why is this character important to Star Wars? So David, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of like what my answer to this is what kind of been infused in everything that Aaron and I have talked about over the course of this profile. And that's, Hondo's important to Star Wars because he plays such a key role throughout a lot of different eras. He's there during the Republic, and he does, help Obi-Wan and Anakin and, other characters at that time. He helps Ezra and the Ghost Crew, during that time. And that's, the development of the Rebel Alliance. And we just talked about it. He's helping Chewbacca and the Resistance on Black Spire Outpost, on Batuu. And so he's doing this across all these decades of Star Wars history, across canon. And look, and I was hinting at this just a few minutes ago, Lucasfilm and Disney obviously viewed him as incredibly important because they placed him in this incredibly key, important role in the first ride to premiere in Galaxy's Edge. And Aaron mentioned it, Smuggler's Run. There's Hondo, introducing us to the whole process of Ohnaka Transport Solutions there. I mean, obviously we have Rise of the Resistance now, 2 rides there, but it's the first one, the first ride there, and they have Hondo, an animated character, front and center in both Galaxy's Edges. Was it $1 billion each? I think, right, for 14 acres in both parks. So obviously, they thought very highly of this character. So, like I said, not only important across the Star Wars timeline and canon, but also to Lucasfilm and Disney. He's seen as incredibly important.
Oh, he definitely is quite important because, and you said it the best, David, because Lucasfilm definitely, or Disney definitely, put a lot of trust into the character for this ride and for this park that everybody has been waiting for so many years to finally happen with Galaxy's Edge. And he's been a successful part of that. And it's been fun to have Hondo be a part of the live park experience there at the Galaxy's Edge. But he's definitely a character who made an impact. to put it mildly. He was more of a frustration during the Clone Wars. I would almost say a thorn in the side of Obi-Wan during the Clone Wars. Even though Hondo would be like, my friend, the whole time, and you could just see Obi-Wan cringe. But he's definitely somebody who annoyed Obi-Wan. Really didn't get much done in the Clone Wars when it came to helping, but when it came to Rebels is when he started seeing the impact he was having. He got the rebellion, the Y-Wings. The Y-Wings we see used in the Battle of Yavin, the Battle of Scarif. These are those Y-Wings he used. He was able to obtain for them. He was able to get them, help them secure weapons. He was able to help them free Lothal, liberate Lothal from Thrawn and the Imperial tyranny. I mean, so he definitely had an impact. And these are things that would not have happened. These are things that, without him, events in the galaxy would have played out differently. Yeah, honestly, you go back to the Y-Wings that he helped them steal. They had an impact in Rebels when they're transporting. Oh my gosh!
You mean the Lasat?
No, not the Lasat. I'm talking about. She's in Andor. She ended up becoming head of the Republic, New Republic. Redhead.
Why are you doing this? Chancellor Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma. Carabast. Carabast. Yeah. There's the episode of Rebels when they're transporting Mon Mothma, and they end up having the Y-Wing escort, and those Y-Wings end up fighting off Thrawn's TIE Defender. And that's an impact that was made because of Hondo. Of course, the Battle of Scarif, having those Y-Wings there. The Battle of Yavin, those Y-Wings there, making those runs on the Death Star. That's because of Hondo. Pure and simple because of Hondo. So it's definitely somebody who made a massive contribution without a lot of praise. And that's why we do shows like this, where we can sit back and look at a character and be like, you may not have thought about it, but there are things that you take for granted in the Star Wars saga that would not have happened if not for this character. And there you go with Hondo.
Nice.
So one thing it's not in the notes that I wanted to actually go through, and you'll enjoy this, David. I actually found this earlier today, and I just never had a chance to put it in the notes. Back in 2016, James Floyd did a write-up on StarWars.com. The best Hondo Ohnaka quotes from Clone Wars and Rebels. And I thought you'd get a kick out of some of these quotes. The first one is, this is awesome. As my sweet mother always said, son, one hostage is good, then two. If one hostage is good, two are better. And three, well, that's just good business.
Of course.
Then there's, but you know what I always say, speak softly and drive a big tank.
That's a good one.
Love it. Then there's when they got a dead guy on the ground, he goes, hey, somebody scrape that guy off the floor, he sprung a leak.
Oh jeez. Oh my gosh.
Or, oh my, look at the time. Oh well, my work is done here.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, oh, this is from the episode with the younglings when he raids the Jedi ship with Ahsoka and the younglings on it.
Yeah.
Ahsoka tells him, "I don't want to hurt you, Hondo." And Hondo goes, "I know. I appreciate it."
He's got so many good lines.
This is what I can relate to, David. I really can relate to this one. I may not be as young as I once was, but I'm older.
It's a little bit of Yogi Berra in him, right? The famous
Yeah.
Yogi Berra. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, he is just so much. Of course, there's the one I mentioned earlier, the insolence. We're pirates. We don't even know what that means.
When I heard that for the first time, I just cracked up. I mean, and that was in that first episode, right?
Yep.
And yep. I'm like, all right, I'm with this guy. This is cool. So yeah, he's big time. He is big time.
Mm-hmm. Well, two more quotes, then we'll wrap things up here. There was this is from Rebels. And he goes, "Oh, the stories I could tell. So many of them true."
That's a really good one.
That's that. If you look for a quote that describes Hondo, that is it.
That's him.
That is Hondo. Then, of course, we'll leave you with this last one here. He's talking to Ezra, and Hondo goes, "Does this mean I don't get my finder's fee?" And Ezra goes, "You never were." And Hondo goes, "Perfect answer. I'm so proud of you right now. I've never had a student learn this quickly."
So good.
That's from the Legends of Lasat episode.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. I love it. So, of course, we want to hear from y'all. Let us know what you think of Hondo Ohnaka, because he is just an incredible person. We'd love to hear from you. You can hit us up on any of our social media accounts. We are on Facebook and X at SW Reactions Pod. We are on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Blue Sky, and Pinterest, and Tumblr, and YouTube at SW Reactions. You can hit us up there all the time. We'd love to hear from you. You can send us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Star Wars Reactions. Or, of course, you can email us anytime, swreactions@gmail.com. David, my friend, if somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, how would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. First would be Twitter X, and that is at David_Modders, Modders. There is, let's see, Instagram, right? Got Instagram, and that is just my name. And then, where is it? Do I have it right here? The Blue Sky. Where did I put it here? Did I have it back here a little ways? I'm looking. When did I send it for Blue Sky? What is it? I need to have this pulled up. I'm looking in my things. Isn't it like blueskysocial.sky. You can see how much I'm on Blue Sky. Not a whole lot here. But anyways, you can find me on Blue Sky as well. So sorry about that. I need to get over there. I need to spend more time there, but I just really haven't spent a whole lot there.
It's davidmodders.bsky.social.
Nice. Well, thank you for the save.
You're welcome.
We both helped each other out with our Carabass moments. That's why we're partners.
That's why we do it. Yeah.
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 Thanks, brother. Thank you, man. Well, there it is. I found it. davidmodders.bsky.social. There it is.
See, there you go. All right. Well, for me, of course, if you want to talk Star Wars with me, the best place is on X at TA Harris 121079. Hit me up there anytime, anywhere, any day. Love to hear from you. And of course, enjoy your Star Wars podcast day, folks. Once you're done listening to us, go check out your other favorite podcasts and see what's going on over there. See what stories they released. I know I have a lineup ready to go for me. I'm going to listen to a whole bunch of great shows today. Matter of fact, it's going to be nothing but Star Wars podcasts for me today at work. I'm going to drive people crazy. I know it. It's going to be worth it. So it's so much fun. So, of course, thank you, Daniel Contreras, for setting this up and pushing this each year. Star Wars Podcast Day is awesome. So make sure you're going over there and giving them a shout out and a follow and so on. It'll be worth your time, and get ready for next year, because I'm sure we'll be doing this again in 2025. So be on it. Well, with that, my friend, you know what time it is?
Oh, no. I do know what time it is. Didn't know if we were going to do it or not, but apparently we are.
How could we not do it?
I got to tease you a little bit.
The people demand it.
I know.
If they don't demand it, I do.
I know. We even have Christina in Australia contributing, let's just say, to your dad jokes of the week. It's getting out of control.
That was good. I got a kick when I got that message for this morning from Christina, because she sent in a Star Wars dad joke. She was like she's the anesthesiologist she was working with on a surgery she was getting out of stopped her and told her a Star Wars dad joke. And I'm like, how perfect is that? So Christina, you got to get him listening to the show so he can learn more dad jokes too. But the one she sent in, I'll tell you that one. And ironically, it kind of goes along with the one I had already picked. So it's kind of it's similar, but the one she sent in was, why didn't Han Solo like his steak? Because it was chewy. It was too chewy.
Right.
Which the one I had picked out was, why did the creature spit R2 out on Dagobah?
Oh, okay. Well, why did the creature on Dagobah spit out R2?
Because he wasn't chewy.
Oh my God.
That's the one I had picked out for today.
Jeez.
And she sent that in. I'm like, well, if that's not confirmation, I don't know what is.
So, like, I messaged Christina, she pulled into your web, and you just love it. You're just like, yes, excellent.
Excellent.
I told Christina to run for the hills. I'm already pulled into this web, and now Christina's in it. So I hope you're happy with yourself, Aaron.
I am. Well, everybody, we got some great times coming up here. We have a show next week. We'll be doing one of our vintage reactions, looking at an episode of Ewoks. Then after that, it is all Bad Batch through the end of the series. So we got some great guests lined up. So you'll be hearing some additional voices with us as we go through the review. So be ready for those surprises as they come. But it is going to be just an all-out blitz of Bad Batch. It is going to be great. So keep your subscriptions on and ears open. It's going to be a lot of great Star Wars coming as we wrap up just an incredible animated series. Well, David, it has been a blast.
Absolutely, buddy. Good to be recording with you again.
Absolutely. Good to be recording. Good to be heard and healthy again. Thank you, everybody, for your love, your understanding, for reaching out and wishing us health. And we definitely appreciate that. It means a lot to us that y'all care and are reaching out like that. We love y'all. Y'all are the best. Remember, this is the year of kindness. I've deemed it that. So go out and do something kind for somebody this week. Buy them a candy bar. Candy makes everybody happy. Get them a chocolate bar. I want a chocolate bar. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.